Thanks for coming to hang out with us today. Ruck Up Buttercup is a podcast hosted by Deployed Love. We chat about real things that military families deal with and help you to love the call to action. So you know the drill. Ruck Up Buttercup. Ruck Up Buttercup podcast can be found on all your favorite streaming locations. As well, we are now available on Reach Across America Radio on Fridays at 11 p.m. and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Just search the word Reef. Can't wait to see you there. Hey everybody, welcome back to Ruck Up Buttercup podcast. This is our last episode for season 4.
God.
I know.
That is so exciting at the same time.
It's crazy because it doesn't feel like it was 4 years. I mean, I guess this was the most consistent year. I was looking at them as I was editing the other day, and I was like, wow, we've had 24. We've had fully 2 every single month, and that's super exciting. I think next year, that's one of the things that we're looking at is potentially weekly because there's going to be 4 of us on the team now, so we may be doing that. So that's something you guys have to look forward to next year is more of us every week for you.
I mean, who wouldn't want more of us?
Should be fun. I know. So we were kind of trying to decide what to talk about today. Mostly we want to make sure you guys are following us because we see you guys like viewing the show and like that there's a lot of people that have listened to the show, but not a lot of you are hanging out with us on Facebook or TikTok where we do post our faces as parts of the clips and we do funny videos and we want our community to be there, I guess, more. So hopefully if you're listening to this, you can find us on all of our social media.
Yeah, I think it's really great. Also, like, even just like our personal pages too, like we post a lot of fun military humor content, bookish content. If you're big book girlies, we're both big book girlies. If you haven't, you know that we love a good book. And so yeah, like, you know, follow along, whether it's our personal pages here over on our Ruck Up Buttercup page on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and even the Deployed Love pages. Like we are all across the country with coordinators there as well.
Yeah. And as we talked about, I think it may have been about 2 episodes ago when we talked to Kayla, we are having Kayla Home come on and be part of the show coming next year. She's super excited. So she is kind of getting integrated into all of our things now. And so she should be on the very first episode next month. Yeah, it'll be next month in January. And we have a huge list on our to record of guests that we want to have next year and different organizations we haven't talked about and some that we talked about like season 1 that we're going to bring back. So it's going to be a really fun season next year.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to bring back some of the people we've talked to before because like we are learning that like, you know, even as like we're growing as a podcast, Deployed Love is growing as an organization, all the other organizations and people that we've interviewed have grown. And so having them back on and learning the new things that they're doing, the new resources, all the different things that they're doing. Because, I mean, we're both seasoned spouses. We've been, I mean, I grew up military. I've been a spouse for a long time. You have been around for a long time. We still learn something new every single
time.
Like, I am literally shocked by, like, I didn't know this. Like, I didn't know that I knew this, or I've heard that name before, but it really does change so much. And so it's really, really fun to see where different organizations are taking their programs and what they feel and what they think is a need for the military community. Because I mean, even though I feel like the military community is small in comparison to the rest of the world, we need access support, whether it's, you know, community, finding out how to do something in a new home. Because I mean, when you're uprooting your lives every 2-3 years, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's emotionally, it's a lot. It's taxing on your bodies. It's taxing on your mind. It's taxing on your relationships you let go. Some people, you know, mentally just start to really crumble. And so having those resources just tucked in your back pocket is why we're here. We're here so that we can, you know, oh, you know what? There's a podcast about this organization. Let me go listen to that. Or I've been telling you guys this all year, but I know that it's not happened yet. We are working on it. But we are hoping to have some like quick guides over on Deployed Love website as well. We'll link it to Ruck Up Buttercup as well, but where you can just go in and click and that takes you directly to those resources. So it's at a one-stop shop type of thing.
Yeah, you're really right about the support. And it is because I look at my sisters. I think that's the best example is they've lived very like sedentary lives, like and to say that like they've lived in the same areas their entire life. Like they both have never left Nebraska, Colorado area. And so I think about that and it's like, yeah, they have these friends that they can go do things with because they've known them since high school or they've known them since they graduated. And it's like they have a different life and though they have challenges, I'm not saying that civilians don't hit the same challenges that we do with relationships and things like that. We just have to change ourselves. We have to change our house. We have to change our friend groups
Yep.
all the time. We have to start over.
Like, we're
And
recreating ourselves, and that is,
it's
like,
so hard.
and some people be like, "That's so exciting," but, like, when you have to do it so often
It
and
was so exciting when we were young because I was like,
it
oh, I don't
was.
want to be that person anymore because you do change a lot in your 20s. So I'm like,
Yep.
oh, great. I can leave that person behind and I can start this new persona. But now in my 30s, I'm like, I like who I am and I don't want to have to do
Yeah.
this again.
Well, I feel like we've also just learned, like, we both I feel I don't know, I'm gonna speak for myself, but I've learned to have, like, that I don't give a attitude anymore. Like, I don't care if someone likes me. As a person, I hope everyone likes me because that's just the type of person I am. But like, I've also gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't get upset about it anymore. Like, everybody has their own opinion. Everyone has their own likes. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. But I, but I think it's, you know, I think coming into, especially in today's age, like just having the respect of another person's, like, opinions and like their lifestyle, where we all come from all walks of life. Like, I think military community, you would think most spouses would have like a understanding of differences, but, and I don't know if it's a generational thing right now or what's going on, but like just all of the negativity just needs, we don't do that here.
No.
No negativity. So if you were looking for a safe space, that's just who we are. We're here to help you guys find a safe space. And
Yeah, we just genuinely love the military community. I mean, like, I don't care whether you're patriotic or not, but if you are part of the military community, you're gonna support the troops. That's the biggest part to me. Is like you don't have to care about the country, but you need to care about who is defending the country because
yeah,
my soldier has put his life on the line. Your
yeah,
soldier has put his life on the line. We've put our like livelihood because where would we be without that? On the line simply for you guys to be safe. And you can't like that's one of the negative things is people that disrespect military. It's like, are you kidding? Like these people aren't the political party. They aren't this or that or the other thing. They are just doing their job. They are keeping you safe. And that's yeah.
yeah. And that's just all about what we are here at Ruck Up Buttercup and Deployed Love. We're here to, like I said, be that safe space, be that welcoming environment, like no judgment. We won't like we won't even like when it comes to like those kind of conversations, politics, religion, things like that. That is
We'll do
not
it.
that is left at the door.
Yeah.
We may ask like what unit your husband is just to have an idea of like maybe what you're going through because every MOS is different and every military journey is different. Journey is different. Clearly, I haven't had enough coffee today. That you that is left at the door. Rank is left at the
Absolutely.
door. Religion, upbringing, all that's left at the door. We want to see you as a human being because that's what you are. You are a person. You are not just a military spouse. You are a person, and
Mhm.
within our community and our network, you were loved and you were supported, and that's all that matters. We want to like however we can. If it is religious support you need, we'll connect you. If
Yeah.
it's community, we've got you. Like that's just where it all comes down to, that none of that matters within our little community, that you're loved and supported, and there's no rooms to feel awkward or judged or anything like that, because we don't tolerate it. I feel like we just like
Yeah.
if we see something like that happening, we're just like, hey, like we quickly change the subject or we quickly do something different. And we're all human. We all make mistakes, but at the same time, like we have to just love and support each other, especially as military families, because we do go through so many things that are different and hard.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we want to grow our community on the back end, social media and stuff is we want you guys to ask us questions.
Yep.
We may not have the answers, but we can find some cool resource that can bring onto the show and answer those questions for you because there's some cool things. I mean, we learned about like Judaism as far as like
Yep.
how that's actually supported with the active duty military. We've learned about children, like how they have so many scholarships like that. This year alone, we've learned about like 5 new scholarships that
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Well, and then just like even more opportunities through things for like us that we thought we no longer qualified for because our spouse is
Mm-hmm.
too high of a rank or we've been in too long or whatever may the case be. And I'm just like, like, oh, this is really interesting. And it's nice to know that, even though you may move up in rank, like it doesn't really change your financial status in some spots because
Not
like you
really.
are moving so often, like,
It's a constant like
we
paying
both
out
talked
all this
about
money.
this. Yeah, like, we're still both like recovering from our last PCS moves.
Yeah.
And you just did it
Still in the
again.
middle of PCSing. I don't even know.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like, there's so much money that's not covered. Obviously like there's probably cheaper ways to do it, things like that, whatever the case may be. But at that point in time, like I'm just like, just get what we need. I'm not shopping at 5 different stores to find the cheapest option. We're just getting it and
It
stocking.
does. It comes down to that because it's like, oh yeah, I could thrift that, but it's like, oh my god, how many thrift stores would I need to go to find that quilt that
How
we
many
need or
times?
these tables? Yeah, it's like that's insane. So it's
Exactly.
like I'll just bulk order somewhere, stick it on a credit card, and then that's all that money I have to pay back, which is crazy.
You're gonna laugh so hard because I was at my parents' house this last week. So this will be a couple weeks once you guys hear this. So like if you are familiar, you've heard about Hurricane Helene and all the damage and stuff like that. So I actually had gone home to help do some cleanup and I cleaned out my dad's storage unit and I came home with so much stuff. Like I got home and I was like, Jeremy's gonna be so mad. And he was just like, I'm just impressed you got all this in your car. I was like, me too. I was like, I had a rug, I had a bookshelf, I had a whole bunch of military equipment because my dad wanted to give all of his military equipment to Jeremy. I had I don't even know what the stuff was in, but it was like kind of fun because I was like, this is kind of exciting. Like, I've been looking for a small little like bookshelf to put up in my living room and it was perfect. I didn't have to go buy it. And I was like, I'm just going to take this. Even if I don't use it, I will give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
But it's thrifting and starting anew. And cause like, that's been like this house, like, upstairs the house that I'm currently living in has weird textured walls, so like I'm not hanging a bunch of stuff up because like there's just no way to patch it like when
Yeah.
we take things down. And so my living area space was so boring, it was driving me insane. And literally just and so like trying to buy new curtains and things like that to make it feel more homey, and it still just wasn't doing that. And just adding that little bookshelf to it it made such
Filled
a
that
big
space.
change.
Yeah.
It
Give you
Oh
that
my god,
cozy.
it really did. And I was just like, see, this is exactly what I needed. I needed something in this corner that made it. And now I have some shelf space, so now I can put the things out that I haven't been able to put out because I didn't have a fireplace mantle, I didn't have shelving on the wall or anything like that. So I'm very excited about that. And I was just we've been here for over a year, and
Yeah.
now that my living room feels like a home now and not just a bare room with a couch in it.
Yeah. Well, and talking about that, we were sitting down this morning, you and I talking about like all the different people we've talked to over the last 4 years, and we kind of were trying to decide which ones we wanted to mention. But one of mine that I did want to mention was Maria Reed, who does the like redecorating homes and stuff. And I was super excited. The reason I was thinking about her and kind of goes into exactly what you're talking about is I just saw her post a TikTok or Instagram reel about winning this huge grant from American Furniture Warehouse to continue to do these makeovers for military families. And her organization is just so cool that she has all
She
of these
genuinely
things.
is such a cool person. We've had a couple opportunities to talk to her and interact with her, whether it's been through our podcast. She was a guest at Pillar this past year. And she is just such a fun person, and like just kind of she reminds me of like she's the military version of what are their names? The Magnolia, Chip and Joanna.
Yeah,
She is the military version of Chip and
because
Joanna.
her
And
husband helps too, so it
yeah,
is very cute,
I
very
think
like that.
he retired this year. Is that right? I think he retired this year. I'm trying to remember what she said in the pillar thing, but it was, I mean, she's genuinely such a fun person, and she takes like the different things, and I love her little show that she's got going on right now where they help a military family like remodel a portion of their house or their whole entire house depending on like what the episode is. So it's super fun. They have their own network. I didn't know this. Did you? I don't know if you watched the video in the pillar, but she actually has like a broadcasting director like background, like that's what she was doing before she joined the military, and then she put her career on hold and she took that and created this really cool community. And that's like kind of what we try to push here through Ruck Up is that even though life can suck at so many different points for us, like we're constantly moving, constantly saying goodbye, constant career change, taking something that you truly love
And then
and
being able to like give
doing
it
all
to
the
people.
classes, yeah. But I mean, like,
So
even if like
cool.
you're not ready to commit to that, like that career, because military life for most is a very short time. You know,
Mhm.
20 years max, which, 20 years seems like a long time, but in the
But
big
it's
scheme of
so
things, it
not.
really isn't.
Yeah.
It really isn't. Like, I'm kind of like, Jeremy just hit 16 years, and I'm like, oh, we only have 4 more years until he hits 20, and that's gonna go by like this. And
Yeah.
so, but even if like you are like, I want to do this, like when my spouse gets out of the military, this is what I want to do. Take those opportunities of those scholarships, of the, I mean, my CAA just changed too, which I'm so excited for, because now it goes all the way up until E8, E9 now, which it stopped at E5. So that's giving all these other military spouses an opportunity. They may have not had it because they married into it after their service member was already that rank, or whatever the case may be. Use those opportunities. Use the opportunity to do if you're wanting to do something in leadership or anything like that, go check out our episode with MSAN, Military Spouse Advocacy Network. Their cohort program is so good. I'm by the time this comes out, I would have graduated. And it's so exciting. Their graduation is actually on November 9th. And so it's really, really
Super
great.
soon.
It's really soon. So it's really great. And I've learned so much, and I cannot wait to continue. Just having the opportunity to network with all the spouses within this cohort and the 200 before us is really, really exciting. And so there really are so many opportunities out there. MSAN, also, I learned this last week. I didn't know this, but you can, if you're a military spouse and you were wanting to get your mental health certifications, you can reach out to them and do it for free. They will send it to you, and you can get
That's
your
so
certifications
cool.
for free. I didn't know that, and I was like, I thought it was just because we had to do it for the part of the cohort, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Even if you want to just learn more about like
Just,
mental
I mean,
health,
we all have, yeah, issues that we have to deal with. We might as
yeah,
well have
and,
a toolbox.
there were 10 courses that were each about an hour long, so it didn't take me more than a week to complete. When I mean, I just kind of like sat down and completed them within a week. But like, there's so many things out there that can help set you up for success, or set you up for what you would want to do once you get out of the military, or even while you're in the military. It's drive. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, I know we've talked about this a lot, just running the nonprofit and doing the podcast. Like, we're just like, oh, this is like, time
There's
different.
definitely times where we're like, oh, I don't know if I want to record anymore. I'm so tired. But then it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, every time we sit here, we get to chat. And I think the best part of it has kept our friendship super
Yes.
strong, because we get to
Well,
see each other twice a month at the least.
and I think that's like what we like. That's a great message to send. Like, there's so many different ways that you can connect with the people that you're no longer connecting with. Like, I love that we get to do this together. Like, it's one of my favorite things. It's one of those things where we get to just catch up about life, but as well as like we get to learn something new, and we get to take what we learn and put that into the military community, whether it's through our connections, through Deploy Love, through the podcast. And I think it's really special. And like I said, we're seasoned spouses, and we're learning this all the time. Like, I'm like, I don't want to give up the podcast for the reason alone of just the things that we get to learn about
And
every other.
the people we meet are so cool. We've met so many, like, I am just so excited to start scheduling for this coming year, because I have a whole list of like really cool people that have been on Pillar, that have been on other podcasts, like these really cool people that we're going to be able to meet and like hear their stories. I think the stories of military is so interesting because it's all so different, but at the same time the same.
But I feel like that is what I love about us interviewing the stories. And I think that's like, one of the things I picked up when we were doing the Pillar event this past week, or this past, gosh, was
Month,
it?
a
I guess
month.
it was a month ago. Yeah, in October, is that even though our stories are different, they're different in so many different ways. We come from different backgrounds. We have different journeys in the military. We've had different times apart from our service members. But you're not alone, because even though they're different, so many similarities happen between those points, that like there's somebody out there who has gone through something very similar to you, and can be a support system, a rock, a beacon, whatever you need. And I think that's
Mhm.
genuinely what's so great about the military, and don't let those bad apples, I say this all the time, do not let the bad apples ruin your experience. If you had one bad interaction with a military spouse,
Mm.
don't let
Yeah.
that be the deciding factor, because in general, even if you're in the civilian sector, you're gonna have people who are just assholes. It's plain and simple. Don't let those ruin the experience for you to have someone who can be there for you or help you get through a really hard time, because you've maybe been through 2 or 3 deployments. I had been through 3 deployments. My 4th deployment with my husband was like the absolute worst, and it wasn't even during the height of the war. And so I think like everything is different, and so having those people in your corner is really important. And don't those people who want to be your friend are going to be your friends, like, and there's going to be people like that's the other thing, like there are so many spouses out there who genuinely want to help support you. I think LinkedIn is a great resource. Like, it's becoming one of my favorite resources right now, just to find people to connect with, like to see who's doing what, especially like when it comes to like helping policy changes, or those who are kind of help developing all the other resources and the programs out there. It's a really great way to see like what's happening. So if you go and like just follow like tags like military spouse, military family on LinkedIn, there are a lot of great military spouses and veterans who are
Just movers and shakers. Like they're just doing what needs to get done. Yeah. So that kind of
exactly.
goes around to the circle. Like again, another episode that I looked at that I was like, oh, this was one of the ones that I loved, was talking to Kimberly Gold.
Yeah,
She
probably like
is huge in the military spouse world. She is doing so many like amazing things to really take down that percentage of us that are unemployed or unemployable because of the situations that we've been put in. And she is just like, even since we talked to her, which was I think last year,
yeah, it was
is
yeah.
she is just doing huge things. And the reason I talk about her is because I see her, like you were saying, on LinkedIn every day.
Yes,
I
she
see
needs
her posting. I see her at conference. I see her winning awards. I mean, she is doing big things for our community, and she is just so cool. So I'm hoping maybe we'll get her back on the show again, because she's done some crazy good things since we last talked to her.
And she's just not the only one. There are so many, I mean, so many people out there. I mean, join the different groups. Like, like the MSAN has a network. If you are an entrepreneur, there are networks. There's the military spouse chamber
Mm-hmm.
network. So many different things that you can get involved with, and that's really, really great to help you guys connect and network. I really loved our conversation with United Through Reading. I feel like we've talked to them before, but like I learned so many new things from them this year that I was just like, it's a nice reminder, because even though I know that program has been around for so long,
A long
they
time,
do
yeah.
so many different things. And our same thing with like Fisher House. I have volunteered for the Fisher House since I was a teenager, and
Oh,
I was
nice.
just like, whoa, like you guys do this too? Like I completely forgot. Like,
Well,
you
now
know,
it's Reese Across America. I've been looking at that curriculum and talking to other homeschool moms about it lately, because like it is so cool. Like there's a Veterans Day one, which as we're recording that, Veterans Day is on Monday, and it's like, wow, we can sit down and just print this little curriculum. It's all done for us. We read a
there's
story and we talk about it. It's so cool.
it's just number one, it can be extremely overwhelming with the amount of resources out there. Like, because there's so much. We have as a podcast been doing this for 4 years, and we've barely made a dent in the amount of resources for military families, spouses, veterans, you name it. We hope that one day we can have all of them on and things like that, but like there are so many, and so our goal is to at least try to make it a little easier. Like we want to make it easier for you to find those things. So like here is what we have so far. Check them out. Do those kind of things. But if you know, if you know of an organization
Please let
that
us know
really,
for
let us know, because
sure.
we would love to interview them, not only for ourselves, but for also for to help get that podcast out to you guys, get those clips out to you, share it over on Deployed Love, because sharing's caring. We know
Yeah.
that we know that our nonprofit and our organization cannot help every single person. We're not big enough to help every single person.
Mm-mm.
But we know that there are other spouses out there and other veterans and other services that do similar things, do things that are different, do things that are needed, that we want to make sure that our spouses have that in their hands and they can make those choices based off of their family, because every family's different, like we keep saying. So like we just, that's the whole point of our podcast. That's why we started it. We wanted to have a place where we could connect and share what we were going through, because it's rough, it's sticky, it's
Yeah, I wish if you binged from the very beginning to now, like how many different things we've gone through, deployments, we've gone
oh
through
my gosh,
multiple
rapid deployment.
PCSs.
Yeah, rope.
It's crazy. That's 4 years. Like looking back on that, that's horrifying. Like we both have been deployed. We both have been to PCS twice almost now. Like in 4
And
years
then,
is
like,
wild.
moved multiple times between the PCSing because,
Mhm.
as a
That was
military family, a lot of renters and things like that, there's just been so many different things. And I think that it's a great way to share what a military journey is like. But we want to make sure that we're hitting on the mark. Like, we're seasoned spouses. We know that things are very different for our new spouses coming in.
mhm.
If you have a story you would want to share that you think needs to be heard, let us know, because it doesn't have to just be a resource. Like, we're sharing military stories as well. Like, and, whether it's, you are a Gold Star widow, or you are a
Brand new
spouse.
spouse.
Yeah. I mean, surviving spouse. If you are a spouse who has a soldier who made it home, but is broken, whether it's
Mhm.
physically or mentally, like, we want to hear all the stories, because there are so many different stories out there that are worth sharing. And so we want to make sure that those stories get out, and that
You were saying
other people
sharing.
don't know they're
Yeah,
alone.
sharing
They're
is
not.
caring,
Yeah.
because if you're listening to this now, we're gonna keep it short. We're kind of on the wrap up at the end of this, but the biggest way to help us get more resources and more people who want to be on the show is for us to get, more seen. So sharing is super helpful. We do have topics on almost everything that you're going to encounter at this point over the last 4 years. And I know I personally am like in all those Facebook groups, and someone's like, well, I need help with reintegration. I post a comment about our podcast. I'm like, oh, here's a reintegration episode. So if you guys are doing that and you're listening, you're like, oh, my friend is having a hard time with PCS. Here's a PCS episode. Here's one about depression. We have things about like mental health. We have things about religion. We have
Mhm.
everything. I think at this point, something is going to cover part of that.
Yeah, and even if you're not struggling with that topic specifically, just kind of listening and learning about the resources can help you help your community as well, like your tribe, your network, and being like, oh, well, I was listening to this podcast. I know about this organization, or, hey, like, my new neighbor is this religion, like, that's why they have a tent up in their backyard, or whatever it may be. Like, there's so many different things, and it's nice to know and learn things in a safe avenue. And that it's, we usually tell you, like, do your own research. Every time you hear something,
Mhm.
do your own research, go look it up, because everything is different for each person. So we love you guys. We love being here.
We hope it's fun. Like I was looking back and I was like, I remember when we did the episode of like different branches competing the different spouses and
Oh
like what they
yeah.
would know. We should definitely do another one of that. That was so
Oh,
much
I
fun.
would love to do that. Was a lot of fun. And I think it's also just I think we should do an episode where we talk about the different, I think we kind of touch base on that one a little bit, but like all the different terms. Like, I see a lot of people like lately going like, well, especially in those just military groups, not specific to a certain
Mhm.
installation, of like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know
Right.
what that means. Like, let's talk about all the different acronyms and like, the different terminology between like Army, Navy, Marines, other
I
things.
mean, we get caught up on that. It is hard to, they're all different, which is crazy. It's like, we all work for the same place. Like, why don't we just have the same terms
Same
across the
same
board?
terms, but we don't. And I know Army terms because that's what I grew up in. That's what my husband is now. I may know a few Marine terms. Don't quote me on
Mhm.
any of them right now because I couldn't tell you what any of them are at the moment. But we just genuinely want to be here and help you guys. And so we hope you guys enjoy the content that we create. We hope that you've learned something, at least one thing. If you learn one thing, that we've met our goal. And I really cannot wait to do season 5, and I can't wait to bring on our new friends and just see where the next season brings us.
Me too. I can't wait to see more of your faces on social media because we talk and we're in there. We're always commenting. We're always responding. Recently, we've had some people messaging our pages, and it's fun to just have these conversations with other military spouses about things that we all deal with. So don't feel like we're an organization or anything like that. Feel like we're humans. We are humans. We're all 4 military spouses, and we
Yep.
are genuinely just here to get to know you, get to know the community. So please share, please join. We really, really appreciate everybody who's been part of the family for 4 years, and we're ready to start season 5. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And as we like to say, Ruck
Ruck
Up
Up
Buttercup.